You will learn the inner working of the FM synthesis by analyzing the famous tube bells patch. This is the Sound Design Tube Bells Part 1 tutorial. I will cover algorithm, feedback, and oscillator. At the end, you will have basic knowledge of FM synthesis parameters. So what benefits you will get? You will learn priority parameters of the FM synthesis and its role in sound design. You will learn systematic yet hands-on approaches to FM sound design. This is very important because FM sound design by chance rarely works. But learning all of that, you will have FM knowledge and skills that you can apply to other FM synthesizers. Before starting this tutorial, there are a few things that you need to know and do. You need to know a bit about the DX7 or software FM synthesizers to navigate its menus and find parameters that you need to see. Please make sure that you have the original DX7 voice ROM 1826 tube bells patch, as you will be using it as an example. As you need to concentrate on learning, please find a quiet room and turn off any devices that can distract you. Once you've done everything, then you are ready to go. Let's look at the DX7 front panel. Under the printed algorithms, there are 32 green buttons. Within those buttons, from button 7 to 32, there are 26 buttons for an edit mode to create a patch. So, starting from button 7, which is for algorithm, you can pretty much follow these buttons from your left to right. Then you go down to the next row and start from button 17, and progress from your left to right again. This is how Yamaha designed the DX7 FM synthesis sound design process flow, and it starts from, you guessed it, algorithm. Now, if you recall from the first FM synthesis tutorial, I explained that the algorithm is the most important and the first step in the FM sound design. And this is why algorithm is so important. Of course, there will always be going back and forth between those buttons when you make a patch, but we will learn the general flow of the FM sound design process. Now, we know that there are 26 buttons for making a patch, but there are some buttons that you will start using them straight away. These buttons also have more impact on shaping FM sound design. I call them as priority parameters. They are algorithm, feedback, oscillator, envelope generator, keyboard rate scaling, output level, key velocity sensitivity, and key transpose. There are also 6 buttons that you will use throughout the FM sound design process. They are operator on-off / egg copy buttons from button 1 to button 6. Other parameters can be used to fine-tune a patch, so they can be used later. I call them low priority parameters. They include keyboard level scaling, pitch egg, LFO, mode sensitivity, and voice name. You can pause here and do self-learning tutorials. If you are still new to the DX series synthesizers or software FM synthesizers, now it's a good time to familiarize yourself with your FM synthesizer's parameters. Are they similar or different to the DX7? For software FM synthesizers, they likely to have additional parameters, so you should at least know what they are. Once you learn about each parameter, can you identify your priority parameters? If yes, Do you see common steps you take to make a patch? Now, we will get into the heart of FM synthesis. We will use the famous DX7 tube bells to learn the basics of the DX7 FM synthesis. We will go through those priority parameters and see how they are utilized for making the tube bells. So please make sure to have your FM synthesizer ready with the famous DX7 tube bells patch. Let's get our hands dirty. We will analyze the famous tube bells from the FM synthesis sound design perspective. Let's go into the edit mode by pressing the purple edit button. Then press button 7 to see the algorithm used for the tube bells. By the way, you will always see algorithm in the edit mode. The tube bells uses algorithm 5, and if you look at the DX7 front panel, it is a group 1 algorithm with 3 towers, and each tower is acting as an independent additive synthesis unit. This is called the divide and conquer approach. You basically create specific harmonics / inharmonics per tower and mix them together. As you can recall from the first FM synthesis tutorial, when you have towers, there is no frequency modulation happening between those towers. Now let's look at feedback. Press button 8 to see the amount of feedback that is applied to operator 6. The LCD tells you that the feedback level is 7, which is at maximum. So what is feedback? It allows you to generate a sound packed with higher harmonics. It's usually used for creating a sawtooth wave without a need for many operators. You can use operator on-off to hear what harmonic contents each tower is producing. Let's hear operator 1 and 2 by turning off operators 3, 4, 5, and 6. They generate a bell sound. Let's hear operators 3 and 4 by turning off operators 1, 2, 5, and 6. They generate a bell sound again. Let's hear operators 5 and 6 by turning off operators 1, 2, 3, and 4. They generate attack sound, but it's very quiet. Now, we look into oscillator parameters, including mode, frequency coarse, frequency fine, and detune. Press buttons 18 to 20 and use operator select to cycle through each operator. You can pause this tutorial and spend a few minutes going through those parameters. The result is shown on the table so that we can look at everything at a glance. Now, you can clearly see that the frequency ratio of both tower 1 and tower 2 are exactly the same. They both produce the same bell inharmonic tone. Inharmonic tones are generated by using frequency ratio of 3.50. You can generate this type of metallic tones by using frequency ratio of 1.50, 2.50, 4.50, etc. Also, you will notice that operator 5 has different frequency setting. It uses fixed frequency mode, which generates hammer-like attack tone. This mode allows an operator to have a fixed frequency no matter which key you press. Now let's look at the tune. Tower 1 with operators 1 and 2 have both positive numbers. Power 2 with operators 3 and 4 have negative numbers. So when you have those two towers together, they produce a smooth chorusing effect. This is because towers 1 and 2 are detuned in opposite increments. Generally, the bigger the difference is, the faster the chorusing effect gets. So we can summarize what we've learned so far. Towers 1 and 2 generate bell inharmonics and they are detuned in opposite increments so that they produce a smooth chorusing effect. Tower 3 generates hammer-like inharmonics for attack, but it's very quiet. You can pause here and do self-learning tutorials. You can turn on operators 1 and 2 only. Select operator 1 and change its ratio course up and down. How do these changes affect the overall tone? Once you've done that, you can put operator 1 ratio back to 1.00. Select operator 2 and change its ratio phi up and down. How do these changes affect the overall tone? Once completed, put operator 2 ratio back to 3.50. Turn all operators on. Try changing the ratio of operators 2 and 4 from 0.50, 1.50, 2.50, 3.50 to 4.50. What are similarities and differences to the original tube bell's tone? If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do so here. When you are ready, you can go through the tutorial FM Synthesis, Sound Design, Tube Bells Part 2.